Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and to part 2 of our Newsfeed devlog. In last week's video, we talked about the system design for our Newsfeed app. Within it, we defined the functional requirements, laid out what the system might look like, as well as talked about scaling considerations. Now it is time to get our hands dirty and start implementing the UI using Flutter. So within this video, we're actually going to implement the main home screen where we'll have the newsfeed present to us. And at the very end, we're actually going to connect it to a Firestore database. This allows us to pull content dynamically from Firebase and populate it within the app. Just like we discussed, our web scraper would add content to a database, and then our app pulls that content from that database. So while we're not implementing the web scraper here, we will be implementing the UI and connecting to Firestore as mentioned. So if you're curious on seeing how the app comes to life, stay tuned and let's get started. Alright, so I'm back on my computer over here. You can see I've pulled up the UI design. This is what I've shared out at the very end of last week's system design video. On the left hand side, you can see what we're actually going to implement on the home page. So on top, we're going to have like a carousel slider that is going to loop back around and is going to automatically advance through the top news that we have. At the bottom, we're going to bring in different news articles. You can see it gets a topic name assigned, you can see it has a title as well as who basically the author is and the date it was published as well as the image. Now something we're going to change here is that we're actually going to take these different topic sections and we're going to put this down here so that the user can click on the various topics, and then the section down here is going to change based on the user selection. So we're basically focusing on building out this homepage component. You can see what it might look like if we scroll further down. And we're not going to worry about this implementation on the right, which has the news content in itself. This is something that we built out within our recipe app a couple of weeks ago. So this will actually look quite similar. So with that in mind, of course, I'm hoping this implementation will go rather quick. And first of all, I'm probably going to focus on this top carousel item to make sure that we can advance this infinitely. And then we'll be going to regroup. So let's get started. Welcome back. So let's take a look where we're at right now. As you can see on the right hand side, I was able to implement the carousel slider, which does loop back around and also advances automatically. You can see those images are currently not news images, they're stock images that are currently being used, and it's just as a demo right now. At the bottom here we have that news section by topics. Here we can see all, maybe we will pull the most popular topic out of each, and then we can see all the different topics that we have listed here. So US, world, business, and so on. The idea is if we click somewhere, which is currently not possible, we will have the selected item in blue and white as the text as well as bolded, whereas the other ones just have grayed out and the text in black. At the bottom, you can see the various news articles that get listed. This is going to be the topic, this is going to be the title, the author, as well as when it was published. Yes, this will take a little bit of cleanup to do, but we will see that the list is scrollable, we can see that piece, and so we have a rough idea of what it is going to look like. And if we go out here to our actual image and that UI design that we're going to go and shoot after, you can see at the moment, breaking news on top. We have the carousel item, which is advancing, as well as basically what they call recommended section, which I call news by topics, where we took this topic selector, toss it underneath, and then have the articles underneath as well. So as the next step, I will actually now take some time to pull up some news articles, probably just from like Google News, which I've also used those sections from. Probably like grab 5 from each, from the 5 top ones, dump them into the code for now that we sort of have a rough idea, and then can use that piece to actually start building the app out and have a little bit more of a rough design of what it's going to look like. So let me take that and hopefully get some of this updated a little bit, and then after I've done that, I'll show this, and then we're going to work on making things clickable. So I'll talk to you in a second. Alright, so now let's take a look at the app, because I've pulled in several articles. You can see within the constant file, I have organized these inside of a map based on the topics. This is sort of how I wanted to add these later on into maybe a Firebase, where I could have something like news, and then it has this topic that it dives into, and it contains, like, each record has its news article within it. So this allows me to organize this easily, and maybe later on, if I have time, I will toss it into a Firebase and pull the data from there. But at the bottom, you can also see that I have created something called the breaking news map, which is sort of controlling all of these items that you can see up here within our content, and it will be the same under the all topic. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just taking the top record from each, and I consider that to be the breaking news for those, essentially. And then similarly under here, you know, we still have to go in and make these clickable so that they can be displayed. And that should change the bottom down here. And we have to take a look and see how we can get this highlighted as well. And yeah, I think if we take a quick peek on what we set out to do, which was this home page really here, we can see we're already very close. Maybe we have to add a little bit more border radius, which I can show you in a second how to do. And yeah, we have those topics as well as the cards down here. So I think we're making decent progress. Just a little bit more and we should be able to wrap it up. So to fix this border radius, to make it a little bit more rounded, we have to go into the carousel item where I broke it out, and then we have to start looking at where the image is located, and we can probably hunt a little bit higher up. I think this is the border radius because the image is located right here. So if we type this and increase it to, like, I don't know, 25, we should be able to see that the border radius is a little bit more. There we go. And let's take a look. Yeah, I would say this is about 25. So yeah, now the cards are more rounded like we have here. Yeah, so I will be starting to implement the bottom part now, and I'll talk to you in a couple of seconds again. So the UI for our Newsfeed app is built. Let's go over it. So like I shared before, we were looking to implement the following design UI right here. So if we pull it up and compare it a little bit, we can see we have this breaking news section with a carousel slider that advances automatically and also is able to loop back around right here at the top. So if we go to the very end, you can see if we go one more, we get right to the beginning. In addition, we can navigate down here by clicking these buttons, also to jump back and forth more easily. Then we get this recommended section, which I actually changed to news by topics. And as I mentioned originally, we wanted to bring in these topics sliders, which we also brought in so that we can select a different topic. Right now for all, I'm also pulling the top articles, which are similar to this piece. And then we can see that we can click onto these and basically change and jump around based on the topics we are interested in. And right now I just have it hard-coded to 5 articles for each of these topics, so they will only be those at the moment. Yeah, going forward, I think I have one little bug here because we can see all. It's not necessarily topic related, which is supposed to be a topic, but it shows like under business it makes sense, but under technology it also shows business, under US it also shows business. So that's one more little bug fix that needs to happen before we can wrap up. And the last final piece that I actually want to do is take this data, which is currently located in the articles darts file, which is hard-coded, and just dump it inside of Firebase. Hook up Firebase to this app and then pull the data from there, so that it's more dynamic in case then there's additional extension that needs to happen, which is maybe the news feed scraper, which we originally discussed in the system design last week. Up here we said we are getting new news articles by scraping websites, and basically that will store it in our database. And so by creating that database and hooking it up, we can easily create that scraping service separate from our application and UI, and then the UI only hooks into our read replicas to actually gather the data. So with that in mind, I'll go ahead and do this quick fix and get it hooked up to Firebase, and then we're going to regroup again in a couple of seconds just to demo the last final portion of the app. And the app is done. Let's go over it. So previously we already took a look at this breaking news section out here, but let's just match it up just to refresh our mind real quick. So if we take a look, we still have breaking news on top. This is a carousel slider that advances automatically, and you're able to click these dots down here to jump around to the sections you like. You can also wrap around at the end, which is really nice. So, really easy to navigate. At the bottom, we have the same articles as top because it pulls the same list here for demonstration purposes only. What we also can do is, if we scroll through this, we can click on a card and we actually get to the website where the news article is from. Same thing goes down here. If we go down here, click on sports, again, we can click on it and we get immediately to the website so we can actually read the article. The other piece that I had said, like down here, we have the topics section, which is here listed as recommended, but we took the topic sliders. So if we go through, you can see we have different sort of sliders listed alphabetically. So here's all, you get all news. You can switch over to business. You see business articles, entertainment, health, science, sports, technology, US, and world. So yeah, previously I had 5 articles per page. However, I did go ahead and implement this and pull the data from Firebase, and I was not going to waste a lot of time getting all 5 articles per topic into the database right now. I think this proves the point that we can connect there and are able to pull the data. So we take a look at the Fire database that I've set up. We can see our collection is just news. Then we have all the topics listed out here as a document. And then with each of them, we actually have data that we have within our app. This is the article URL so that I can route users towards the page and open that for them. We can see that we have the author as well as the date. So if we'll take a look within our database right here, not database, but within our app, now we can see down here we have the author name as well as the date when it was created. The image URL brings us the image in, so I pull that live, and then also the title is what we will see here. Obviously the topic is this main document, and it switches based on the titles that we clicked or topics we select. And if it's all, it is matched where we pull the article from, which is just the top one from each item. All right, so if we take another look out here, I think that should give us everything that we wanted to do. And yeah, so with that, I think we are able to wrap this up for now. If you do want to take a look at the code and push this any further, maybe integrate your own database, I have linked the code in the description below. And with that, I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.